Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to dig in.
Today we're tackling a phrase that's deceptively simple. Cast your bread upon the waters.
Ah, yes. It sounds almost peaceful, doesn't it? Like scattering seeds on a gentle stream.
Right. But when you trace it back to its origins in the book of Ecclesiastes and the Torah, things get a lot more complex, even venturing into the realm of bribery.
Now, that's a twist I bet most people wouldn't expect.
Exactly. So let's unpack this proverb. First, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 11, verses 1 and 2. It's basically advising, to be generous, especially when times are good. Sort of like preparing for a rainy day by sharing your wealth.
It's kind of a long game approach to generosity, right? Plant the seeds today and they may benefit you down the line, even if you don't see those benefits immediately.
But here's the thing. The author of Ecclesiastes, he wasn't exactly a struggling farmer, was he?
Not at all. Most scholars agree that the author was likely someone in a high position of power, possibly even royalty.
Okay, so someone with a lot to give, and probably a lot to gain, which makes you wonder about the bread being cast. Was this pure altruism or something more like, I don't know, strategic networking?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's a question that takes us right into the heart of the bribery issue in the Torah. Because when you're talking about those in power receiving gifts, it's hard not to think about the potential for corruption.
Exactly, and the Torah tackles that head on. In Exodus 23:8, it explicitly forbids bribery. The wording is really striking too. A bribe blinds those who see and twists the words of the righteous.
It's like a powerful image, It captures the insidious nature of bribery. It shows that it's not simply about money or favors changing hands. It's about the corruption of judgment, the erosion of integrity. It can warp even the most fundamental sense of right and wrong.
So, if the Torah is so strongly against bribery, how does that connect back to the idea of casting bread upon the waters?
Yeah.
Like, where's the line between generosity and trying to influence someone?
That's the blurry line, right? It can be really hard to distinguish sometimes, especially in those more nuanced situations where there aren't clear-cut rules.
Right, because even small gifts can create that feeling of obligation, like you owe something in return.
Exactly. Think about it. Have you ever felt that pressure to return a favor, even if you didn't really want to? Or hesitated to refuse a gift because you didn't want to seem rude or ungrateful?
Oh, all the time.
Mm.
It's like a subtle feeling of indebtedness, and you don't even realize it's happening.
And that's exactly why the Torah focuses so much on the receiver's responsibility, the one accepting the bread. I mean, it specifically says that bribes can blind even the discerning. And the word discerning in this context, it refers to people known for their wisdom, those who are usually good at making sound judgments.
So even those who you think are level-headed can be compromised. It's not just about the quote-unquote righteous being tempted. It's a distortion that can happen to anyone.
Precisely. And that's pretty sobering when you consider the implications. If bribery can sway even those we consider the wisest among us, then none of us can really claim to be immune to its influence. I mean, it raises questions about our own decision-making and how we navigate those situations where someone might be trying to influence us, even subtly.
Wow, we started with this seemingly simple proverb about generosity and ended up in a deep dive into the psychology of influence and the ethical challenges of bribery. What a journey.
And that's what I love about these deep dives. You never know where they'll take you. We peel back the layers of these ancient texts and discover all these connections to our lives today. It's pretty fascinating.
So as we wrap up, here's something for our listeners to chew on. How do we make sure that our giving, whether it's our time, resources, or just a listening ear, is truly genuine? How do we make sure it comes from a place of sincere generosity and not with any hidden agenda or expectation of getting something back?
It's a challenge we all face in a world where, there's so many subtle ways to influence others. It's worth reflecting on for sure.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that sometimes the simplest phrases can hold the deepest meanings. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll see you next time.
Until then,